Right. So in today's session, we are discussing about constructing this JWTs like JSON Web Tokens in Guidewire. Because whenever we are using on Guidewire Data Hub, right? So Guidewire Data Hub, which majorly used as a central authentication server, so that we can construct and issue JWTs like JSON Web Tokens and all for users and as well as servers services and all that. In that regard, so whenever we try to understand about the JWTs and all, the first of all we must be knowing about what JWT is all about. JWT is in short, in detail, we can call it as JSON Web Tokens, which basically being used in Guidewire Insurance to utilize bearer token authentications, like where the bearer of the token is granted resources, access, etc. And it's being used in the Guidewire Data Hub, so which is a centralized service responsible for authenticating user services, all these. As a service responsibility for authenticating any user services, right? So, or else if you want to construct any valid JWTs for user across ecosystem, see this can be used in the Guidewire Hub also, Guidewire Data Hub. So this is what generally uh, the JWTs are all about. But whenever there is any construction process that we are involving in gathering identity and as well as authorizations of data, so this is JWT that we can use it for data collection, like for users and all, right? So, for example, whenever we are working on the Guidewire Data Hub, right? So, which federates the request to an external identity providers like Okta or Azure ID and all that. So, this has to be returns to the SML responses so that whatever it contains, the user information, right? So, all these things will be converted into JWT claims, all that. As far as the services are concerned, right? So as in when I mentioned in the beginning, right? So as far as the services are concerned, these services, this Guidewire Data Hub authenticates the service identity directly using its registered clients, IDs, and secrets, all that. So this is how this can be used. In that regard, so whenever we try to know about the authentication flow, this is what generally authentication flow that we can see. Because when there is any kind of request for any caller request a token for from a Guidewire Data Hub, so Data Hub has to validate, because this is what we call it as Auth 2.0 we are using authentication, where Guidewire Data Hub has to validate the credentials through LDP, SAML or OADCs and all that. Next, this will construct the JWT with the standard claims. This is what we call it as issuance and all that. So once Guidewire Data Hub is constructed the JWTs and all that, caller can be included this JWT in the API header, so that subsequently these creations can be done accordingly. So this is an authentication flow we must be knowing when we are working on the Guidewire integration framework as far as the application is concerned. But when we do this authentication flow, as I told you, as far as JWT, we must be knowing about what are the different standard tokens that we have. These are the standard tokens we can see, because submission is one claim. For example, we are working on the claim, right? So submission, whenever there is a subject that we have taken. So this is used as a unique identifier for the session user and all. This can be used for. And CID claim and all, this is called client ID. It will represent as it, because if you want to identify the identifier of the application, whoever is making the request, it's called client ID. The third about the group, right? So this is presenting in a form of roles where we have to make the list of API roles by defining the endpoint access like register, etc., all that. Next, SAP is one more claim where we see the scopes, etc., so that we can define the resource access strategies like PC services, etc. All these things will be included in it. Next, about the tenant ID, where Guidewire Cloud Tenant context we have either ACME or production, right? So everything is being included. So these are the standard token for claims. Generally, we can use it for authentication authorization purposes. So 2.0 or something we are using it. Now, when we are implementing and as well as the extensions are concerned, generally This has a high token plugin ratio, which is for 100%, where this dynamic extension that we can do by expanding the token plugins, right? So that we can allow development team to programmatically add or modify the claims in the token map. So even though after JWT is received, okay, that can be done. But make sure before we are authorizing these and enforcing these resources and all, we should use the lookup customer producer codes and contact ID numbers in Gozo. So then only this is possible. Otherwise, it's really difficult for us to manage all that. But when we try to implement this and populating claims in the Gozo and all, these are the points that we need to see. Entry point, where we are implementing the expand token methods in Gozo plugin. Next, token map, where we can access the token map to read the original hub claims, etc. The third about external lookup, where we are extending the call systems like a contact manager and all, so that we can fetch the granular IDs, all that. Next about the custom claims, where we can add the entries like CC underscore producer codes too, so that we can enable resource level filtering, etc. Everything can be done here. So these are the different populating claims in Gozo, which we can do right from the entry point, at the same time for token mapping, at the same time external lookups, followed by custom claims. Everything can be used here. So these are the major ones whenever we are working on it, right? So there were, because we need to make some changes in extending of the code. Once successful authentication is completed, that we have to make. So all these things will be involved whenever we are working on the Guidewire Data Hub.